By Sunrise, written by Eleanor Wells. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house. Living room, day. Summer. The first thing we hear is an off-key chorus of Happy Birthday. The first thing we see is a living room stuck in the 1970s, from the shag carpeting to the wood panel walls to the color scheme. Super. 2009. Salem, Massachusetts. We're close on the patriarch, Arthur Campion. 66. His face is pale, and he looks older than he is. His son, Jack, 45, holds out a cake, and Arthur blows out the candles. Liz, 44, Jack's wife, sits beside their son, Drew, 14. His face is buried deep in his Nintendo DS. Liz catches his eye and gives him a death glare.
One second, I'm in the middle of a level.
While Jack serves cake, Liz goes and snatches the DS from his hands. She puts it in her bag.
Mom!
You'll get this on our way back.
Drew groans and sits up, catching eyes with Arthur. However, neither say anything. They sit and begin to eat. All are quiet.
Nasty cake. Too dry.
Jack's face flushes. He's embarrassed.
It's Mom's recipe, Dad. The one you gave us?
What?
Liz gives Jack a look, motioning for him to drop it, but he ignores her.
Liz made it from scratch. It was a lot of work for her.
This is not your mother's recipe.
It's awkward as they continue to eat. Liz turns to her son.
You want to tell your grandfather about your news?
Oh, sure. I'm going to be on the school football team in the fall.
Very good.
Before any can say more, Arthur tries to stand up, but he stumbles. Jack goes up to help him to catch his balance. A moment later, Arthur vomits all over Jack. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house, living room, day. Liz and Drew wait. Neither says much. The house is an eclectic mix of different eras of middle-class comfort. They watch as the sunlight peeks through the curtains.
Andrew, he doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, I know.
Liz sighs. Shortly thereafter, Jack joins them, freshly showered and in clean clothes.
He's resting. I called Heather. She's going to come by this evening to bring dinner and check on him.
He'll be okay until then?
He's going to have to be.
Interior, funeral home, lobby, day. Early fall. Funeral goers gather. Drew is looking at photos of his grandfather as a young man, tracing him and his grandmother through their life. He's fixed on one of Arthur and with his grandmother Cathy as a young couple. They pose with a baby Jack. We see he has a cast on his leg. Drew hears a voice. He turns around and sees his Aunt Heather, late 30s, beside him. She gives him a hug.
Hi, sweetheart. What happened?
I fractured my leg.
Ow.
Yeah, I'm out for the rest of the season. I'll have it off by Halloween, they said.
You know, I've always told your dad it's dangerous you doing that.
Drew says nothing.
Where are he and your mom, by the way? I haven't seen them.
They're in the kitchen setting up the coffee and stuff that my mom brought.
Just then, an older man, Walt, 60s, approaches them. He looks at Drew first.
Andrew?
Drew raises his eyebrow.
My God, how old are you now?
14.
He extends his hand.
I'm Walt. I worked with your grandfather at the car shop for 40 years.
Wow.
Last time I saw you, you were about yay high.
He motions his hand just below his hip. Drew smiles tiredly.
Heather?
He puts a reassuring hand on her shoulder.
We all loved him.
I know.
Walt turns to Drew.
You're a spitting image, you and your father both.
The three linger in silence.
Take care.
Walt leaves, and Drew takes a moment to realize just how large the crowd is. He catches eyes with Jack and Liz, approaching them. Heather immediately gets Jack's attention.
Jack, may I speak with you?
Of course.
Slightly confused, Liz and Drew watch as Jack goes off into another corner of the room. Drew's eyes turn to the photos once again. After a moment, Jack rejoins them. Drew continues to look at the pictures as he listens on his parents' conversation. He's focused on one with Jack and Heather as kids.
Your sister okay?
Yeah, I guess Wendy's having some behavioral issues, so that's why she and Martin aren't here. She thinks she's going to be too busy to deal with the house, so she wants us to.
Liz sighs deeply.
Okay.
Silence.
She's not going to be able to help at all.
She's going to try. She would just really appreciate it if we could stay in the meantime.
Fine. Did she say when?
Probably not until after Halloween.
Liz nods vaguely.
We'll have to pull Drew out of school. He's not going to like that.
We'll have to go back and pack for a week, and he can talk to his teachers.
Drew turns.
You know I can hear you guys, right?
His parents give him a look.
We'll talk later.
Interior, car, day. We're in the middle of the freeway, in bumper-to-bumper standstill traffic. It's autumn, as evidenced by the multicolored leaves on trees that surround them. In the back, Drew sits, clearly bored. He wears a shirt to indicate that he's on his high school football team. He holds an iPod in his hand and listens to music through his headphones. Suddenly, something causes him to take his headphones out. Liz sits in the passenger seat. Jack drives.
What?
I can hear your music from all the way here. You're going to blow your eardrums out that way.
Okay. Are we almost there?
No.
I have to go to the bathroom,
Can it wait 20 minutes?
I guess.
Drew sighs dramatically.
We haven't moved for like an hour.
We could let you off right now and you could walk the rest of the way if you want.
Jack,
Probably faster.
Andrew,
What?
what on earth is wrong with you?
I don't know.
You don't care about anyone but yourself.
I guess not.
Long silence as they continue to drive.
Incredible.
Silence as Liz glares at her son disapprovingly. Liz turns back in her seat and groans. Drew puts his headphones back in. Interior car later. Their car pulls up to an old historic hotel right in the waterfront. A sign tells us that this is the Sunrise Inn, estimated 1885. As they start to get settled, Liz turns to him.
Put your iPod away while we're checking in.
Okay.
Interior, Sunrise Inn, lobby, day. Drew stands off to the side beside their luggage while he watches his parents check into the hotel. He eyes the various Halloween decorations. No run-of-the-mill party city. It's classy, understated. He overhears something the concierge tells them.
Folks, just a heads up, we don't have hot water in the building right now. We're looking at getting it fixed as soon as possible, so tonight's on us, okay?
Appreciate it.
We do apologize for the inconvenience.
No problem. Have a great day.
After a moment, his parents approach him, and Jack hands him the key. Not a card, but an old-fashioned key.
You're in charge.
There's no hot water?
Don't worry about it.
Drew nods, and they start to gather their things.
We're in room 108, down the hall.
Interior, Sunrise Inn, hotel room, day. A relatively standard room with 2 beds, but old-fashioned furniture. Drew listens to music on his iPod while his father works on his laptop at the desk, and his mother reads a book. Just then, Liz gets Drew's attention.
Don't you have homework to do?
It's not going to take me all day.
Why don't you go ahead and get started? That way you don't have to worry about it the rest of the time that we're here.
We just got here.
Okay. You need to shower?
There's no hot water?
Liz sighs.
We've got to be in the car on the way to your grandfather's house by 9 in the morning tomorrow.
Drew puts his iPod aside.
Can I walk down to the beach?
What are you planning to do at the beach?
Just sit and watch the waves? Is that okay?
They say nothing.
I'll start my homework when I get back.
Be back here by 4:30.
Drew takes the iPod, puts it in his pants pocket, and leaves. Exterior, beach, day. The beach, down the hill from the hotel. In late fall, at the odd hour, the beach has a strange, quiet beauty. As far as he knows, Drew is alone. He approaches the shore and watches the flapping waves. After a moment, he slowly takes off his shoes. He rolls up his pants and lets feet soak in the water. We notice something, too. There's a large purple and blue bruise on his leg. The worst of the injury is over, but it still seems to pain him. He sighs and looks out at the horizon, back to the beach and Salem. After a moment, he sees something, a girl, sitting in the sand, also looking out. This is Kirsten, 16. She wears an old-fashioned white dress and has a sad, almost empty gaze. After a moment, Drew takes his shoes and walks over to her.
Hi.
It takes Kirsten a moment to realize he's there. She turns in his direction.
Hello.
I didn't expect to find anyone else out here.
Is my being here a problem?
No, not at all.
You just what?
I thought I'd say hello.
He sits in the sand beside her.
Are you staying at the hotel too?
Again, Kirsten takes a long moment to respond.
No. I'm waiting.
Waiting for what?
Someone.
An awkward beat as the two sit in the sand.
How old are you?
I'm 16. What about you?
14.
You look familiar. I can't place it, but I feel as though I know you.
I don't see how you would. What's your name?
Kirsten.
She extends her hand, and they shake. After a moment, Drew shirks back.
Something wrong?
No. It's just your hand is very cold.
Is it?
Drew nods vaguely.
I'm Drew.
Drew.
It's short for Andrew.
I have a rather uncommon name too. At least uncommon here in America, so I understand.
Are you from somewhere else?
I was born right here in Salem. My parents are from Sweden.
Another pause.
Oh, I remember now. I'm waiting for Artie. He's going to meet me here.
Artie?
I love him very much.
Drew nods.
We were just at the Halloween dance at the common. Have you been?
Drew shakes
I'm
his
just
head.
here with my family for the weekend. My dad grew up here, though, so he might know.
I see.
My grandfather died, and we're cleaning out his house, so we're really not in the mood for a celebration.
I'm sorry, Drew.
I barely knew him. He and my dad weren't talking.
They were estranged?
Yeah.
Then she notices the bruise on his leg.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah.
Shyly, he rolls his pants down.
I fractured my leg pretty bad playing football. First practice of the season. I just got my boot off, but now the season's pretty much over. So I have to wait another year to play with my team.
You're better now.
Yes, I guess.
Before either can say more, he hears his mother's voice.
Drew.
He turns and sees her and Jack standing with stern looks on their faces.
There you are.
I'm right where I said I'd be.
Andrew Joseph Campion, I've about had it with you.
He looks back to where Kirsten was sitting and realizes she's not there. Completely gone. Before he can react, his mother speaks.
Put your shoes back on. You're going to get sick. What were you thinking?
It's not that cold out.
Drew.
And my feet are going to be covered in all sand and stuff.
You should have thought about that before you dunked your feet in the water.
She gestures to them.
They're purple. My goodness.
I saw a place where you can hose off. Come on.
Drew takes his shoes and follows his parents back to the hotel. He looks back again at where Kirsten was sitting. No one is there. Interior, Sunrise Inn, restaurant, night. Drew, Liz, and Jack eat dinner at the hotel restaurant, similarly decorated for Halloween. Drew stares blankly out the window. His parents are speaking about something that Drew has no connection to. He is clearly very bored. Interior, hotel lobby, day. The next morning, Drew is in the free breakfast area. He sees it's 7:30 in the morning and aimlessly wanders. Nothing about the spread seems particularly appetizing to him. He's bundled up. When he's close to the cereal, he notices a girl, Juliet, 14, beside him, also bundled up. She gives him a smile.
Excuse me.
Drew moves out of the way as Juliet pours cereal into her bowl.
Are you here with your family too?
Yeah,
My dad's still up in our room.
my parents are too.
Oh, so you're an early bird like me. Well, the early bird always gets the worm.
I couldn't sleep. First, there's no hot water, and now the heat's out.
Us too.
Well, at least there's breakfast.
After a moment's pause, Drew takes a bowl and pours himself the same cereal that Julie had.
What's your name?
Drew,
I'm Juliet.
like,
Yes, like the play.
hi,
Where are you from?
I'm Boston.
I'm from Philadelphia. My sister is in school in Boston. She's going to meet us here, and we're going to do some Halloween stuff.
Cool.
We're going down to Cape Cod later today.
Drew nods vaguely.
True. Do you want to sit with me for now?
Sure.
The two of them take their cereal bowls and find a nearby seat.
Maybe it's the ghosts, the water, and now the heat.
Drew gives her a blank look.
Ghost?
I thought everyone knew this hotel was haunted. There was a girl who died here 50 years ago.
Drew raises his eyebrow.
She drowned in the ocean.
Juliet continues.
Yeah, well, I guess her boyfriend took her here so they could,
She gives Drew a look.
well, you know,
I do?
have sex.
Oh.
Juliet starts talking at 1,000,000 miles a minute.
I mean, they said it was drowning, but nobody really knows for sure what happened. I mean, think about it. It could have been her boyfriend, but the point is, no one ever found out what actually happened to her. I don't really even believe in ghosts.
Do you remember the girl's name? Anything about her?
Before she can respond, Juliet's father approaches their table, dressed for a day out.
Good morning, Jules.
Hi,
He gestures to Drew.
Who's this?
this is Drew. He's also visiting with his family.
All right. Well, say goodbye to Drew. Are you ready to go?
My coat's in the room.
Juliet's father sighs.
You better hurry.
Can I finish eating my cereal first?
A few more bites. We're running late as it is.
Juliet stands up, reluctantly leaving Drew.
Bye. Maybe I'll see you around.
Yeah.
Drew watches as Juliet goes up to the room, and Juliet's father goes to sit closer to the exit. Drew finishes his cereal, stands up, and exits the hotel. Exterior, beach, morning. Drew wanders down to the beach, to the same area where he stood the day before. He looks around, and at first he sees no one. He stands there for a minute. Then, sure enough, he sees Kirsten, sitting in the sand as she was before, in the same dress. He takes a deep breath and approaches her.
Hello.
Like before, Kirsten takes a moment of notice him.
Hello.
Can I sit with you?
Of course.
Drew is nervous now, clearly more so than he was before.
Do you remember me?
Yes. You seem familiar.
Drew takes a good long look at her. He isn't sure if he's imagining it, but her skin seems paler, more translucent, less alive than the average person.
We talked yesterday. I'm Drew.
Short for Andrew.
She gazes at him.
You hurt your leg, I remember.
Before Drew can say more, Kirsten stands up and gestures towards the town before them.
I must introduce you to Mother.
But I'm...
Let's be opening up at the bread shop. Mother makes the most divine chocolate croissants.
The look she gives him is so enticing he can't help but follow. Exterior, Salem streets, day. Still early morning, Drew walks up to the front of the hotel, facing the main road. He looks around. Kirsten is nowhere in sight. He lingers for a moment, then notices a sign across the street. Johansen Bakery. It's old, hand-painted. The lights are on. Drew crosses the street and enters. Interior, Johansen Bakery, morning. Inside is a small homey place, and Drew is immediately captivated by the scent. There's one other person there, sitting, eating a croissant. This is Artie, 16. But Drew doesn't and won't know this yet. He's handsome, boyish, dressed sharply. A school bag is at his side. He locks eyes with Drew.
Miss Johansen will be right back.
I came here with someone. Have you seen her?
Who?
Her name is Kirsten.
Kirsten Johansen?
Yeah.
Her daughter?
Drew nods.
How do you know Kirsten?
I just met her yesterday.
I haven't seen you before.
I'm visiting. I'm from Boston.
Ah. May I ask why?
Drew hesitates.
My grandfather, he passed away.
Oh. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. My grandmother's been gone for a long time, and they really loved each other, so I've heard people say that at least they're together again, but I don't know.
What don't you know?
I don't really think anything happens after we die. I think we just die.
Artie laughs ruefully.
It's a little philosophical for me first thing in the morning.
I'm Drew.
Artie nods.
Anyway, how'd you meet Kirsten?
Outside my hotel, just across the street.
Oh, she goes for walks in the morning sometimes. To answer your question, I have not seen her.
He shrugs as he checks his watch.
5 more minutes of freedom.
Drew manages a smile. Before he can say more, Mrs. Johansen, 40, appears, carrying a tray of chocolate croissants at the counter. Kirsten looks very much like her.
Good morning. May I get you anything?
Get a chocolate croissant.
They do smell amazing.
Fresh out of the oven.
Yes, please. I'd love one.
Mrs. Johansen puts one into a paper bag. Drew opens his wallet, realizing he only has some change. He's about to open his mouth when Mrs. Johansen gives him the charge.
A quarter.
A quarter?
Yes.
He hands one over without question, and Mrs. Johansen gives him the bag.
Well, I should go. My parents are probably awake now.
Later, Drew. I'm Artie, by the way. Enjoy Salem.
Thanks.
Drew scarfs down a bite of his chocolate croissant and exits. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house. Basement, day. Drew is sprawled out in a basement, the same one they celebrated his grandfather's birthday in not long before. There's something cold, quiet, and dead about it now. He's been tasked with stacking a shelf full of books into 3 separate boxes. They're marked with donate, keep, and sell. He's looking at his grandfather's yearbook from 1959 to 1960 school year. He's paging through the back when he catches a pressed rose and a page of torn notebook paper. He can just barely make out the elegant scrawl. 6, 7, 60. Artie, you know you will be in my thoughts every moment that I'm away. Until then, sealed with a kiss, my love, C. Drew stares at it for a moment, leaving the paper where he's left it. He goes to the junior class, making through rows of black and white photos. He finds the C's. Arthur Campion. Then a headshot. Drew closes his eyes. He sees as a flash of Artie from the bakery. Then back at the grainy headshot. It's the same person. Drew turns a few pages. He's at the J's, looking for a specific name. He sees it. Kirsten Johansen. Then he pages over to a photo. It's Kirsten. We see a flash of Kirsten at the beach. One and the same. Delicately, Drew closes the yearbook. His eyes catch a photo on the near end of the table of his grandparents on their wedding day. He takes it to get a closer look. It's still the same. We recognize Cathy, Drew's grandmother, from the photos at Arthur's funeral. Artie too, though he's a few years older. Drew sets the photo down when he hears his father come down. Jack kneels beside his son.
How's it going?
Drew gestures to the yearbook.
Grandpa's yearbook? What should we do with it?
Keep it.
Drew takes the book and is about to put it in the keep box when he stops.
Did Grandpa ever used to go by Artie?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know your own grandfather's name?
I didn't know when he went by Artie.
Mostly before I was born.
Then how would I know that?
Jack gives his son a tired look.
When did Grandma and Grandpa get together?
We married in 62, so it would have been high school sometime.
Drew, with a smirk, opens the book and shows Jack the note and the flower.
Oh, yes.
As Jack is lost in the early physical memory of his parents, Drew's eyes flash to the Artie that he saw at the bakery. The headshot, the wedding photo, it's all the same. Interior, hotel, room, night. It's the middle of the night. Drew is wide awake as he stares out the dark window and listens to the rustling wind. His father is snoring, preventing him from falling asleep. As Drew tries to drown them out, he hears the sound of crying. The crying, belonging to a girl, is louder now. Drew pulls his sheets tighter around him and closes his eyes. Interior, hotel lobby, morning. Outside, it's pouring rain. Drew and his mother wait, still waking up. Drew sees Juliet come down to the lobby. He sees her and waves. She waves back, and it sits.
Hey.
Hi.
They sit there awkwardly.
Thank God the heat's fixed.
Yeah.
My sister's taking me out for brunch.
Nice.
Drew purses his lips.
Hey, how long are you guys here for?
Juliet raises her eyebrow.
Why?
Just wondering.
At that moment, Drew's mother leans over to him and whispers in his ear.
Are you going to introduce your friend?
Drew laughs nervously.
Juliet, this is my mom.
Liz.
Nice to meet you. We're here until the 1st. You?
Same for us. My grandpa has like so much stuff in his house. It's not even funny. Anyway, are you around later?
Yeah.
Do you want to hang out tonight?
She looks at Drew's mom and blushes.
When?
Whenever we're back.
We're in 205. Come knock.
If it's okay with your parents, Juliet, and
She looks at Drew.
stay in the main areas.
At that point, Jack pulls up in front of the hotel with the car. Drew and his mom pull their raincoat hoods over their heads and walk outside. Interior, car, morning. Jack waits as the two get in the car.
It's not a date. Don't worry.
What's not a date?
Your son has a girlfriend.
No, I don't. I just want to talk to her about something.
What's her name?
Juliet,
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
please stop.
Jack
Come
laughs.
on. Come on, lighten up.
When he doesn't, Jack gives his son a look as they drive off. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house, basement, day. As it continues to rain, Drew and his father make progress on the stack of books. He eyes the calendar, October 29th.
So, are you going to tell me about Juliet?
There's nothing to tell.
Jack gives Drew a look.
I'm not talking about this with you.
I'm just asking.
They continue to sort books.
Hey, Dad.
What's up?
Did Grandpa ever date anyone else before he met Grandma?
Jack laughs ruefully.
Probably. Why?
Drew opens his mouth to speak, yet he can't find the words.
Just wondering.
Interior, hotel, hallway, night. Drew, wearing jeans, tennis shoes, and a long-sleeve shirt, knocks on room 205 and anxiously waits. He hears a shuffle, and after a moment, Juliet's mother, a kind woman, opens the door.
You must be Drew.
That's me.
Juliet's father sits at the hotel desk and waves to him. Juliet comes out of the bathroom a moment later, dressed nicely.
Hi.
I was thinking we could eat at the restaurant here if you want.
Sure.
Juliet hesitates in the doorway as her parents watch the two of them.
Don't be back too late.
Have fun.
As her parents continue to stare, Juliet gives them an embarrassed eye roll as she follows Drew down the hallway. Interior, hotel, restaurant, night. Juliet and Drew eat dinner in the quiet restaurant. Not many are around.
Sally.
So, you think you're gonna do like the makeup and everything?
Well, not the full body, but I have the dress and the wig and everything. And my mom's gonna help me do the stitches around my eyes and mouth. You should come.
I don't know. It'll depend what my parents say. I don't think we're up for it. My dad grew up here, so.
So this is your first Salem Halloween?
Not my first. When I was a kid.
Drew breathes in.
I barely remember my grandpa, and my grandma died before I was born. I want to be sad, but I'm having a hard time. Does that make me a bad person?
Juliet shakes her head.
Why haven't you seen your grandfather in so long?
He and my dad didn't really get along, but suddenly it's like Grandpa is the best person ever.
Juliet nods, but says nothing.
So I need to ask you something. What do you know about this hotel being haunted?
Not much, other than what I told you the other day.
What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Juliet shakes her head.
I'm sorry.
How does she haunt the hotel? Like, how do people know if they've seen her?
People have heard her crying at night, and she drowned, so some people say they've seen her walking on the beach. Oh, one thing I do remember. No one's died here before, but ever since, there's been others.
Has anyone talked to her? Like, the ghost?
I don't think so. Have you?
I'm sorry, I'll be right back.
Juliet looks at him quizzically as he gets his jacket and leaves. Exterior, beach, night. The light is extremely dim as Drew walks back to the beach, to the place where he saw Kirsten below. He looks around. It's extremely cold and windy. First, he doesn't see her. Then he catches her figure, her white dress, standing as he looks out to the ocean.
Kirsten.
She doesn't
Hey.
hear him at first, so he approaches closer to her.
Hey,
What are you doing here, Drew?
I came to talk to you.
Artie will be here any minute. And if you're here, it'll spoil everything.
Drew says nothing.
You have your own girl waiting on you.
How do you know that?
I've seen her. She's very beautiful.
How do you know that, Kirsten? Are you watching me? Why'd you disappear yesterday morning?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did I hear you crying last night?
Drew, please leave.
Wait, I have one question first. What year is it?
Kirsten laughs.
What?
What year is it?
Why are you asking me?
Because I have short-term memory loss, and I forgot what year it is.
Kirsten gives him a shy, awkward smile as she answers.
1959?
Thank you.
He walks away. Interior, hotel, restaurant, night. Drew rejoins Juliet, who sits there confused.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
He takes a deep breath.
Kirsten, right? That's the ghost's name?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I haven't just seen her. I've talked to her.
Juliet stares.
I know it sounds crazy, and you don't believe in ghosts, but I've talked to her 3 times now, and I've been to her mom's bakery.
The bakery across the street?
Yeah. I was there the other day, and I had a chocolate croissant. It was only 25 cents.
Are you sure?
Yes, I met her mom.
You met the ghost's mom?
Yes.
I don't think so. Her mom killed herself, and the bakery's been closed ever since. I think her dad died long after. My sister told me.
Drew breathes in.
Is this why you wanted to hang out?
No.
Juliet sniffles.
I should have known.
Juliet takes the last bite of her food and takes cash out of her purse.
That's for my part.
Drew watches her go and sighs. Interior, Salem Street, night. Drew crosses the street from the hotel, where he walked to the bakery before. He sees it's a cell phone store.
No.
He looks back and finds his way to a bench where he collapses, covering his face in his hands.
Hey, it's Drew, right?
Drew looks up and sees Artie. Artie sits next to him.
Hi.
You all right, bud?
I don't know.
Artie sits next to him.
Girl trouble?
Something like that.
He inhales, and they look up and see Kirsten. She's different now, fully alive, color in her face.
I think you two have met.
Kirsten looks at Drew quizzically.
I don't recall.
I'm Drew.
She gets a closer look at Drew, then back at Artie.
My goodness, you could be his brother. Artie, have you had this brother all this time?
Not that I know of.
I'm Kirsten.
She extends her hand and Drew takes it. Artie stands up and his arm around Kirsten's back.
Drew's visiting from Boston. We're going to the movies. Do you want to come?
Drew hesitates.
Pillow talk.
It's supposed to be a gas.
Drew looks back at what was once a cell phone store a moment ago. It is once again the Johansen bakery. For the first time, Drew looks up the street. The cars are all 1950s. He takes a deep breath and is about to speak up when Artie beats into it, gesturing to a phone booth up the street.
You need to call your folks.
Are you sure you want me to come?
Of course. More the merrier.
Drew looks back at them and then notices a newsstand. He takes a look at the paper. October 29th, 1959. He inhales.
Sure.
He walks into the phone booth. Interior, phone booth, night. Drew stares at the phone with his change in hand and realizes with horror that he doesn't know how to work a dial. He tries, but can't get it to work. Shaking, he looks back at Artie, who joins him in the phone booth.
What's the problem?
Drew just stares at him.
They don't have phone booths back in Boston?
No. My family, we have one that you just push the buttons.
You're funny, you know.
He gives Drew another look.
And you dress funny, too. What's the number?
Drew pauses.
I don't actually know, but it's going to be embarrassing if I come back from my date too early, and I don't think they really care, so let's just go.
You sure?
Drew nods. Interior, movie theater, night. The movie theater is busy as they wait for it to start. Artie sits between Kirsten to his left and Drew to his right. Just then, Kirsten catches eyes with Cathy, at 16, with a group of friends. We recognize her as Drew's grandmother from the wedding photo. She stares daggers at Kirsten, then shoots a look at Artie. Kirsten immediately turns to Artie and grips his hand.
Just ignore her.
As they shoot a reassuring look, Drew can't help but watch Cathy as her and her friends sit elsewhere in the theater. After a moment, the lights go down. Exterior, movie theater, lobby, night. It's the middle of the movie. Drew's just come out of the bathroom and he's caught eyes with Cathy, having done the same.
Hello.
Hello.
The two linger awkwardly and Cathy starts to walk away.
Wait. What's your name?
What's it to you?
I want to know your name.
Cathy.
Cathy what?
Cathy Crenshaw.
Drew swallows.
Nice to meet you, Cathy.
Without another word, Drew walks back to the theater. Exterior, movie theater, night. Drew walks behind Kirsten and Artie as they exit the theater.
You're welcome to join us at Milton's.
What's Milton's?
Kirsten smiles.
The diner.
Drew hesitates as the two of them wait for his reply.
If you've got to get back to your folks, it's not a problem.
Drew regards Kirsten and then at Artie, wanting to hold onto their faces.
I can stay out a little longer.
Interior, Milton's diner, night. Drew sits with the two of them at the diner. It's busy with other teens. Doo-wop music plays from the jukebox.
Drew, will you be here for Halloween? There's going to be a dance at the Comet. Artie and I are going. You should come.
Drew's face flushes.
Bring your girl.
My girl.
He realizes.
I wish I could if she wasn't, in Boston.
Call her. Send her flowers. Sweep her off her feet.
Drew blushes.
I don't think so. I don't actually know if she's my girl.
Kirsten pouts, then turns to Artie.
That's so sad.
Just then, the three of them notice Cathy sitting at the counter. She looks at Artie, then looks away.
What's she doing here?
Is she following us?
In response, Artie gets up and goes to sit next to Cathy. As the two of them have a stern conversation that Drew and Kirsten don't hear, he turns to her.
Who's she?
Artie. His girlfriend, before me.
Oh, when did that end?
Last school year. But I was in the bathroom the other day, and I overheard two girls talking about how she wants to get back with him. And they said, Mrs. Johansen's daughter? Wonder what she sees in that little slut.
Drew regards her.
I haven't even... Well, you know. But someone spread a rumor that we did, and I think it was her.
Drew takes a deep breath.
And what about him and Cathy?
I don't know.
Kirsten's response is vague. She's watching him and Cathy.
Sometimes I think I'm only for the moment.
You're too good to be anyone's meantime.
We've only just met.
There's a lump in Drew's throat.
I know, but you're beautiful and kind.
Kirsten sniffles.
Think about coming to the Comet, won't you? For Halloween.
We'll see. I don't have a costume yet.
I could help you if you want. I've made my own. I'm going to be a butterfly.
I'll keep it in mind.
He lingers for a moment. Artie and Cathy are still talking.
Do you know what my favorite holiday is? Don't tell anyone else, but it isn't Halloween.
Drew shakes his head.
Christmas.
A wide smile appears on Kirsten's face.
The first snow, the music. This year, Mother's going to teach me some of the recipes so I can help at the bakery. Oh, Drew, I'm so looking forward to it all.
Drew just looks at her as Artie finishes talking to Cathy and goes to rejoin the booth.
I should go. Have a good night.
Interior, Salem streets, night. As Drew walks down the Salem streets in 1959, Drew talks to himself, under his breath, so as not to catch anyone's attention.
Juliet, I know it's crazy, but you have to believe me, because you're the only one I can trust, and I have to be there. You have to be there when I go back, because I think something bad.
Drew continues on his way. Exterior, sunrise in, night. Drew approaches the hotel. It's the one thing that's exactly the same in both times. He takes a deep breath, too nervous to go in the hotel. Instead, he makes his way towards the beach. Exterior, beach, night. It's pitch dark. Out of the corner of his eye, Drew sees a fire pit and people talking. Then he hears Kirsten's voice.
Drew?
Kirsten?
He looks, but he doesn't see her.
Help me.
He stands there.
Please help me.
Drew runs in the direction of her voice too fast. He ends up tripping over a large piece of driftwood that he doesn't see. He loses his balance and falls into the water. The fall aggravates his injured leg, and he screams. It takes him a moment lying there, in the wet sand, screaming, before he starts to get up. By the time he does, he sees someone he doesn't recognize standing in front of him. This is Kacey, 19, a friendly face.
Hey, are you okay?
Drew wearily sits up and nods.
Do you need help?
Maybe.
My friends and I are by the fire. Come join us. I'm Kacey, by the way.
Drew.
A moment later, she takes him to sit with her friends, Francis and Zane, both 19.
This is Zane and Francis.
They wave. Zane has a cooler at his side. Drew's warmed himself up by the fire. Zane's about to hand Drew a beer, but hesitates.
How old are you?
21.
They all look at him in disbelief.
We're not 21.
18.
They still look at him.
I'm in high school, okay?
There's a soda in there.
Zane hands him a soda, which Drew takes limply. They're all shivering, trying to warm by the fire.
I'm totally voting for Obama when he runs again.
I got to vote for him.
I know you did.
At the mention of Obama, Drew takes a sigh of relief. He takes a sip of his soda.
You all right, man?
I've had a crazy night,
Here with family?
but they're asleep now, so it's cool.
Oh, you might as well know the heat's out again.
Oh,
We are never letting you pick the hotel again.
Come on. It's not that bad. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
No one says anything.
We're all students at Emerson College. First time here.
nice.
It completes the experience.
You know what else would complete the experience? Heat.
So, what I'm hearing is Zane is afraid of ghosts.
Francis turns back to Drew.
We did this ghost walk earlier today.
Yeah? Have you guys seen the one that's here yet?
No, but I heard she spotted on this beach.
I think it was the boyfriend that killed her.
Come on. That's a conspiracy theory.
As they talk, Drew zones out.
There were no eyewitnesses. Doesn't mean he wasn't there. Who just goes swimming when it's pitch black on Halloween?
It was a warm night, wasn't it? They said it was like summer. Maybe she got in the water first, if you know what I mean.
That's scary. You kill someone and get away with it. I looked him up, you know. He had a whole life with family, kids, grandkids.
Andrew Campion.
Drew turns in the directions of his mother's quickly approaching voice. He sits up straight.
Where on earth have you been?
The others abruptly stop their conversation.
It's 11 o'clock. My goodness.
Kacey speaks to Liz first.
I'm sorry. I heard him fall and I thought he might want to get warm.
Liz softens.
You fell?
Drew nods.
What are you even doing here?
He manages to stand but is clearly in a lot of pain. He falls into his mother's arms and starts crying.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't back.
Liz leads Drew back into the hotel. Interior, hotel, room, night. Drew, freshly showered, sits in clean clothes, drinks tea from a paper cup as he sits on his bed, but all still shiver. Jack and Liz sit on the other, watching him.
Why are we staying here?
Because it's convenient and close to the house.
But why here? There's other hotels with heat.
Neither of his parents say anything.
Did you know it's haunted here?
Those are just stories. None of it's actually true.
Well, what if it is?
Not sure I understand.
Girl that died here on Halloween night 50 years ago?
Kirsten.
Yeah, she died here.
He cries. Liz goes to sit next to Drew and comfort him.
Did Grandpa ever date her? Were they boyfriend and girlfriend?
Who told you that?
I don't know. Just wondering.
No, they were just friends, classmates, really. He didn't even know her that well.
You sure they never dated?
Yes, the police at the time made an assumption and ran with it.
Drew tries to think of what to say.
I think I've heard her crying at night.
It was probably just a nightmare.
Drew nods vaguely as he finishes his tea. At that moment, the lights flicker. Drew whimpers in fear. Liz pulls Drew closer.
It's okay. Everything's okay.
Interior, hotel, room, night. For a second night, Drew is kept awake by cries and screams. Interior, hotel, room, day. The next morning, Drew sits on his bed, ready to go. The heat's fixed again. Jack and Liz are still getting ready. The Weather Channel is on TV. It reads Friday, October 30th.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
The beach. Is that okay?
They stare.
I'm not going to get in any trouble. I promise. I just want to get some air while you two are getting ready. Is that okay?
We'll meet you down there in 20 minutes. Have you eaten yet?
I'll get something from downstairs.
Before they can respond, Drew takes his iPod. He stands up and leaves. Interior, hotel, hallway, day. Drew waits as he knocks on 205. Juliet answers, hesitantly holding the door open.
Can I talk to you?
After a moment, Juliet exits into the hallway, leaving the door propped. Drew makes sure no one is around before he speaks.
I'm sorry I was acting crazy last night.
I'm sorry for straying off. I just thought...
Drew waits.
It's just... I like you, and I want you to like me because of me.
I do. Something's happening, and I can't explain it.
Juliet waits for him to speak.
I really think this hotel is haunted. Halloween, 1959. That's when Kirsten died, and tomorrow it'll have been 50 years. Maybe that's why.
Juliet listens.
Her boyfriend was my grandfather. My dad said they were actually just friends, but I don't believe him.
Why not?
He's about to tell her, but stops short.
Just a hunch.
Then Juliet's father peeks his head through the door.
You all right, Jules?
Yeah.
He disappears back into the room, and Juliet turns back to Drew.
And hey, I'll see you later. I'll ask my parents about Halloween.
Okay, well, you know where to find me.
Exterior, beach, morning. Sure enough, he sees Kirsten. She sits in the sand now. Unlike the night before, her skin is pale and ghostly. He sits next to her and gets her attention, carrying his iPod in his hand.
Do you remember me?
Drew.
He smiles.
Short for Andrew.
That's right.
Something tells me you're not going to remember spending time with me last night. You mean Artie?
Kirsten shakes her head.
I'm afraid not.
Figures.
What's in your hand?
He unrolls his headphones from his iPod.
This is like a little radio, I guess. You can hold it in your hand and it plays music.
Kirsten takes it.
Things have changed, haven't they?
Drew nods.
What's it like?
He gestures to his iPod.
You can play music out of these things now.
He fidgets.
Anyway, I heard you like Christmas.
It's my very favorite. Mother's going to teach me her recipes so I can help in the bakery.
So, in my time, there's this movie. It's about the King of Halloween finding Christmas for the first time. Juliet, she's gonna dress up as one of the characters from it.
Juliet?
The girl I've told you about.
I love that name. It's what I want to name it my daughter, if I'm lucky enough to have one.
Anyway, there's a scene from that movie that makes me think of you.
He gives her one earbud.
Put this in your ear.
She does, smiling at him.
Just think of that first snow, catching snowflakes on your tongue and baking with your mom.
She closes her eyes as Drew starts the song What's This begins to play. As the song plays, Kirsten's smiling, but Drew's crying.
Drew, what's the matter?
Bad things are going to happen, and I can't do anything to stop it.
Bad things always happen, but so many good things happen, too.
Drew looks away for her from a moment. They sit and continue to listen. Drew nods vaguely. He looks back, instead seeing his parents walking towards them. Kirsten is gone. He stands up and follows them towards the parking lot. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house. Living room, day. Drew's sitting at a table, getting caught up doing homework. He stops, unable to focus. His parents are arguing in the next room, and he catches bits of their conversation.
No, you'd just be rewarding him, giving in.
I just need 1 day. 1 day.
Come on, he's been fine today.
Tomorrow? The attitude about missing his friend's Halloween party? I don't need the extra stress.
In an attempt to drown out the arguing, his eyes drift over to the couch. He sees an image of his father as he was. Teenage Jack, 15. Looks very much like him, like Artie. Beside him is tween Heather, 11. This is only a vision, his imagination, and as such it's vague. It's roughly the early 80s. Heather has a remote in her hands.
Hey, I was watching that.
You got the TV yesterday. You always get the TV.
Yeah, but you don't need to just steal the remote from people.
Dad!
Arthur enters the room, clearly exasperated with them both.
What is it now?
She stole the remote from me.
Heather is crying. Arthur turns to Jack.
Can I speak to you? Heather, why don't you go check on your mother?
She does, leaving Arthur and Jack alone.
What happened?
She stole the remote from me.
Stop it right now.
How is any of this my fault? I was just watching TV and she decides she can just barge in because you and Mom always take her side?
You know, your sister is very sensitive, and she's taking this hard.
Well, so am I.
Arthur smacks Jack, and with that, Drew's vision abruptly fades. Drew looks back at his homework, but nothing around him feels real. Before he knows it, his father, in present day, in reality, has appeared before him.
Hi.
How's it going?
Fine.
Jack sits next to Drew.
I've been thinking. You've been a big help as is. If you want, I can have Aunt Heather pick you up and take you home tomorrow, and she can watch you.
Drew pauses.
You guys would let me be on my own?
I think you can handle yourself for a day.
No.
Jack is confused.
Andrew.
No, I don't want to leave. And by the way, I totally heard you guys.
You know we love you, Drew.
Yeah, whatever.
Jack gives him a look. In frustration, he raises his hand, and for a moment, Drew flinches. Jack draws his hand back and leaves, embarrassed. Interior, hotel, room, night. Another night of screaming and crying. Drew looks over at his parents, fast asleep. He looks at the clock. It's just after 11 o'clock. His father snores. Quietly, Drew gets out of bed, as quietly and as carefully as one can in the moonlight. He finds his way to a sweater and a pair of shoes. He leaves the hotel room. Exterior, Salem Street, night. Across from the hotel, it's all 2009 and the cell phone store. Drew sighs deeply and walks back in the direction of the hotel, towards the beach. Exterior, beach, night. Guided only by the moonlight, he goes to his usual spot and finds Kirsten isn't there. He sighs. Thinking of what to do, he hears a girl crying. But when he gets a closer look at her, he sees it's not Kirsten. It's Cathy. She's sitting in the sand, hugging her knees to her chest. She sees Drew and is startled.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
I didn't think anyone would be here.
I'm sorry. I'm staying at the hotel.
I remember you from yesterday. Who are you?
Drew.
Yeah, but who are you, Drew? I've never seen anyone before the other day.
I'm visiting with my family from Boston.
And yet you've cozied up to her already.
What?
You should know that Kirsten Johansen is a slut that steals other people's studies because she can't find her own.
She's only ever been nice to me.
Cathy scoffs and gives him a look.
She has a boyfriend.
And you know, Artie was my boyfriend first. And tomorrow, I have to see them at the comment, flaunting it in front of everyone.
You don't have to go.
But everyone's going to be there. I'm not going to let them get the better of me. I don't care. I've moved on.
Cathy, I mean this in the nicest possible way, but you're sitting on the beach in the middle of the night crying. I don't think you're okay.
Cathy sniffles.
You know, Artie told me he was going to marry me. Everything was perfect until little Miss Baker's daughter shows up in town.
Drew inhales.
Can I walk you back to wherever you live?
Sure.
Exterior, Salem streets, night. Cathy and Drew walk on the quiet streets. She's eyeing him in his plaid pajama pants, sweatshirt, and sneakers.
Casual basketball player?
What?
What you're wearing?
Oh, sure.
They walk for a little longer.
Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so nice to me?
I guess
He trails off, unable to find his words.
It's the right thing to do.
As they walk, both take in the fall air and the multicolored leaves around them, and the beginnings of a Halloween celebration.
So quiet tonight. Tomorrow, if you've never been here on Halloween, it'll just explode. It's unlike anything you've ever seen.
Drew just smiles.
Gosh, it's like summer. The radio said it'll be like this all tomorrow, too.
Wow.
Cathy gestures for them to turn onto a residential street. She sniffles.
I still love him, you know.
If you and him are meant to be, you'll find each other again.
Cathy scoffs.
Whatever that means.
She turns back to Drew, looking at him curiously.
Do you have a study, Drew?
Drew's face goes white.
I do.
Of course you do.
Drew swallows.
Hey, what are you gonna be for Halloween?
Alice in Wonderland. What about you?
I haven't decided yet.
Why don't you come to the comet tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe.
He laughs ruefully.
My parents thought I had a bad attitude, so they were gonna have my aunt come get me, but I convinced them to let me stay.
Is that good or bad?
Good, I think. They still treat me like a little kid. I don't even have a cell phone yet.
Cathy looks at him blankly, and Drew realizes his mistake.
What's a cell phone?
It's a Boston thing.
Do they have flying cars in Boston too?
Drew says nothing, and it's awkward for a moment. Just then, she points out her house. The porch light is on.
This is me.
Drew lingers.
Okay, bye.
He catches another look at his grandmother, then walks away. Exterior, Salem streets, moments later. By the time Drew turns the corner and back onto the main road, he sees it's 2009 again, and the phone store. He sighs. Interior, hotel, room, morning. Drew sits up in bed. His parents are not there. He's looking at a note from them. We'll be back around 10 p.m. Call us if you need anything. If you plan to go out, please do not go anywhere alone. Maybe ask Juliet. Either way, just be safe. At the bottom, there's a number to call, and beside it, $40 in cash. Drew rubs his eyes and finds his way to his suitcase. He rummages through suitcases of clothes and drawers. He takes out his own Superman shirt and a white-collared shirt from his dad. Suddenly, he has an idea. He puts everything on top of the dresser, then he turns on the TV. He flips through a few channels before he pauses on a grainy black and white photo of Kirsten's face, her mouth curled into a tight smile. Suddenly, he sits up straight and watches the program. Insert TV program. We see the stock footage of dark water and an interviewee's voiceover narration.
Leaving the Comet Dance Hall was the last time Kirsten Johansen was seen alive.
Drew winces and turns away as the program next shows a picture of her body washed up on shore. Once he looks again, we see the interviewee. Drew glazes over their name.
I think that's what's so interesting about this case. No one was ever charged, and then it all faded away. There were no signs of foul play. If there was a killer, they made no effort.
Drew turns off the TV. Interior hotel lobby, day. Drew sits alone, quietly picking at his cereal. He catches eyes with Juliet. After hesitation, he motions for her to come and sit.
I told Mom and Dad I'd be right back up.
Come sit for a minute.
After a pause, she does.
Is everything okay?
My parents left me here today.
All by yourself?
Yeah. I figured out a costume.
Oh, yeah?
It's Clark Kent, the Superman. I got the Superman shirt and the button down, but I don't have the glasses, so.
Juliet smiles slightly.
You can be him right before he transforms fully.
Yeah, I guess I can. I'm not supposed to be out by myself, though.
Oh, well, do you want to come with us?
I might have to leave, though.
What do you mean?
There might be something I have to do.
Okay.
So much I wish I could tell you.
Before Juliet can respond, just like that, the power in the hotel completely cuts out, leaving only the dim, cloudy light from outside. Juliet, Drew, and the other guests whisper among themselves.
What was that?
I think the power just went out.
Maybe it's Kirsten.
That's not funny.
Juliet pauses. The lights turn back on.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
The light flickers again, but then seems to stabilize. Behind him, Drew hears a familiar voice.
Well, happy Halloween.
Drew turns around to see Kacey and Zane, two of the college students he ran into on the beach. He catches eyes with them and waves.
What's up, Drew?
Not much.
Happy Halloween.
A pause.
How's you guys' morning been, I guess?
Okay.
Kacey cuts in.
Our plumbing is now not working, so Francis is trying to figure out if we can switch rooms or get us a refund or a discount or something.
She sighs. Drew motions to Juliet.
Oh, this is Juliet.
Juliet waves.
Hi.
The light flickers again.
Why don't you guys join us?
They scoot over so they can join them at their table. Once they do, the lights cut out completely, and it seems to stay that way. For a moment, no one speaks. They see Frances walking towards their table, flustered and out of breath. She sits down, vaguely waving to Drew and Juliet.
They said it's like a hotel-wide thing, so they're trying to get it fixed as soon as possible, so they don't have an answer for us yet.
Great.
Juliet gets the group's attention.
Hey, I should probably go back.
She takes a pen out of her pocket, motioning to Drew. He looks to her. She motions to his hand, which he extends, and she writes a number on the back of it. Everyone else watches as he does.
That's my cell. Text me if you decide to join us tonight, or just in case we're not in the room. And if not...
She notices the others staring.
Call me anyway.
Now blushing bright red, she takes her food and leaves.
Ooh.
He watches Juliet leave from sight and then turns back to the others.
I'm gonna go back as well. Nice seeing you guys again.
He gets up and leaves. Everything is still dark. Interior, hotel, room, day. Drew enters the room to find the power is completely out. There's no TV, no running water. The phone doesn't work.
It'd be really helpful to have a phone right about now.
In response, he sees Ghost Kirsten sitting on his bed.
Holy shit.
I want to talk to you.
What about?
Kirsten stares at him blankly.
The vision of my dad? Was that you?
She says nothing.
What do you want?
Why do you keep leaving? Don't you want to know what happened to me?
I don't have control of when I go back.
You haven't figured it out. It happens whenever you pass my mother's bakery.
Okay, good to know.
I need you to know what happened to me. Someone needs to know, and only then can I leave this place.
Why me?
I
Haven't
think
you bothered anyone else in 50 years?
I think you know the answer to that question, Drew.
A lump forms in Drew's throat.
You have to promise me that you won't try to change anything. Promise.
Okay, I'll go.
Kirsten notices Drew looking at Juliet's number on his hand.
She isn't going anywhere.
He waits for her to say more.
Get dressed and go to Milton's diner.
He nods.
Oh, and Drew, you might want to blend in a little bit more.
She motions to his hair and his untucked shirt. Before she says more or Drew can react, she disappears. Drew eyes his father's suitcase, the nice clothes, the button-downs. He takes out a shirt and pants that he thinks will fit and puts on his Halloween costume in his backpack. Drew sighs. Before he leaves, he scrawls a quick note and leaves it on the end table. Mom, Dad, don't worry. I'm with Juliet and her family. I'll be back tonight.
Will a white lie never hurt anyone?
He's sure to take the money before he leaves. Exterior, sunrise in, day. On his way out, Drew notices Kacey, Zane, and Francis with their bags. He catches their attention.
Are you guys leaving already?
Kacey nods.
Yeah, we're done.
All three of them are varying levels of spooked. They walked ahead of him before anyone can say more. Interior, Milton's diner, day. In 1959, Drew enters the diner. He's wearing his father's clothes, his hair slicked back, his pants fastened with a belt. Although he's uncomfortable, this new look gives him a different vibe as he finds a seat at the counter. He looks at the menu, the low prices, and the amount of money in his wallet. Just as he's about to decide, he hears Artie's voice.
Drew?
Hey.
Artie gestures next to the seat to him.
This taken?
Drew shakes his head.
I didn't even recognize you. For once, you don't look like a slob.
Thanks, I guess.
Awkward silence.
Just you this morning? No Kirsten?
My cape tore, so she's hemming it for me. Going as Dracula tonight.
Very nice.
Hey, are you around any?
Yeah, I actually have the whole day free.
Good. Maybe you can keep her company while I'm at work. Just had a day shift at the theater.
Yeah, sure.
Just then, Artie gets the waiter's attention.
Coffee for me.
He turns to Drew.
You need one?
He hesitates.
Yes, milk and sugar.
The waiter nods.
Hey, I think I can come tonight at the Comet. I figured out a costume. I'll be Superman, or Superman as he's transforming. So.
Very nice.
The waiter returns with their coffees.
Blueberry pancakes.
All the same.
Drew takes a careful sip of his coffee. He tries not to wince at the bitterness.
Haven't you ever had coffee before?
Actually, no.
That's what the cream and sugar is for.
Drew nods and puts more in his coffee.
Artie, may I ask you something?
Of course.
What's the deal with Cathy?
What do you mean?
I ran into her last night when I was out walking. She was...
Still in love with me? Yeah, I know.
What exactly happened between you two?
It was real innocent, you know. The most we did was neck at the drive-in. Between her swimming and driving, she never had time to see me.
Is it a swimmer?
Really good one too. She won state last year, but she just can't take the fact that moved on, even though she was the one that ended it.
I see.
He pauses.
Do you love Kirsten?
Artie hesitates.
Yeah.
Have you had sex with her? Be honest with me.
Why, are you interested?
No. There's rumors about you and her.
What do you know about it, Boston?
Artie is angry now.
I've never seen you here before a few days ago, and you think you can just insert yourself in our lives?
You were the one that invited me to the movies, and you also just sat next to me right now.
All right.
He lowers his voice.
I told someone that I took her out to Lover's Lane, and they told the whole school.
Why don't you do something?
Like what?
Drew says nothing.
Anyway, between us,
Artie leans in and whispers in Drew's ear.
I'm going to seal the deal tonight. I booked us a room at the Sunrise, the hotel. It's a surprise. I love Kirsten, and Cathy's just gonna have to find somewhere else.
Artie gives Drew a look. After a while, Drew understands what he means.
Oh, you don't mean me. I'm not interested in her like that.
Look, I'm not saying you gotta do anything. Just distract her, okay?
Sure.
Their food comes.
By the way, I can pay for this.
Drew shows Artie the cash in his wallet. His eyes widen.
Why'd you never tell me you were loaded?
Drew shrugs.
You'll keep Kirsten company, right?
Of course.
They eat. Exterior, Kirsten's house, day. Halloween decorations are everywhere as Artie and Drew approach a modest house on a residential block. She comes out to greet them, smiling widely when she sees them both.
Well, hello?
Look who I found. Drew's gonna keep you company while I'm at work.
Wonderful.
She takes Artie by the hand.
Come in, see your cake.
Interior, Johansen house. Living room, day. The Johansen house is modest and homey. Drew takes in his surroundings as Kirsten takes Artie's cape off of a dress form, and he tries it on. Beside it, on another dress form, is her white dress. He notices that it shimmers white and blue against the wall. Blue wings. The dress he's seen her ghost in is damaged and worn version of this one. This dress is its original form. Artie catches eyes with Drew and makes a face.
I am Dracula.
He checks his watch and takes off his cape. Kirsten helps him put it in a bag.
I'll see you at the Common.
Kirsten nods. He kisses her.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
He turns to Drew.
Take care of her.
I will.
He leaves, and Kirsten locks the door behind him.
He worries too much.
Where are your parents?
They're at the bakery.
Drew's nose picks up a scent coming from the kitchen.
Smells good.
Cinnamon buns. Do you want one?
When they're done, absolutely.
You don't want them right now? Half baked?
What?
I'm poking fun.
She gestures to the couch.
Sit.
He does. He gestures to the small TV.
I was going to work on my costume. And there's TV. I could make lunch. We could go out in the town before the crowds form.
Drew nods and turns on the TV. He tries to flip through channels, but none of the old black and white offerings interest him. He turns it off and looks at Kirsten, humming to herself as she applies glitter to her dress. There's so much he wants to say.
Did you finally figure out what you're going to wear?
Drew nods. He takes up the Clark Kent outfit out of his bag and shows her.
Oh, it's marvelous.
I don't have the glasses, though.
We must get you some. The party shop will have some costume frames. We'll go once the cinnamon buns are done.
Drew nods. He turns the TV back on and tries to focus. Interior, costume shop, day. Later, Kirsten and Drew walk into the costume shop. The store is extremely crowded with other customers. She smiles and gestures to the store around them.
This place is great in a pinch.
She leads him to the accessories, where, sure enough, there's options for different fake glasses. She picks one out and holds it to Drew's face.
You look like George Reeves.
Drew smiles tiredly.
All right. It's
As he takes the glasses, suddenly they're interrupted.
Wow, I should have known.
They turn to see Cathy with a few of the same friends from the movie theater. She's addressing Drew.
Hi, Cathy.
Cathy glares at them and Kirsten speaks.
You have to follow me wherever I go. It isn't harassing me at school enough.
Hey,
In an attempt to defuse the situation, Drew puts his hand on Kirsten's shoulder. Cathy's friend speaks up.
Does Artie know you see another man behind his back?
Kirsten scoffs.
Drew's my friend.
I thought you were my friend.
Drew opens his mouth to speak but can't find the words.
Anyway, he wants me, not you. You know what you are, Cathy? You're pathetic. You'll never amount to a thing.
Cathy, filled in a rage, spits in Kirsten's face. Some of the other customers watch, but they turn around and go back to minding their own business. Cathy and her friends leave. Drew turns to Kirsten. She's on the verge of tears.
hey, are you okay?
Fine.
Drew leads Kirsten towards the counter. Exterior, Salem streets, day. It's busy as Kirsten and Drew sit. She's been crying, but sniffling her last tears away.
I don't owe her an explanation.
Drew says nothing, just listens.
What did she mean when she told you she thought you guys were friends?
Well, I couldn't sleep, and I found her crying on the beach outside of my hotel. I walked her home.
Kirsten sniffles again.
I think part of this, I don't mean to spread gossip, but she had a health struggle and she can't be on the swim team.
Don't know what that's like.
I beg your pardon?
I hurt my leg and got pulled out of football for the rest of the season.
I'm sorry. Shall we go back?
What if we didn't go to the comic tonight?
What?
We could just not go, cancel plans. That way you don't have to see her.
No. We've been planning this all year. I've been working on my costume for months.
I think there's going to be plenty to do around town here.
Drew, we're going to the comic.
Okay.
Interior, Johansen home, living room, dusk. It's dark now. Drew is in costume, and so is Kirsten, though she isn't in full makeup. They're watching an episode of The Many Loves of Dewey Gillis. Just then, Mrs. Johansen comes alongside Mr. Johansen 40s. Two of them carry boxes of pastries. He sees Kirsten first, then Drew.
Hello, sweetheart.
He kisses Kirsten's forehead and takes another look at Drew.
Father, this is Drew, Artie's friend.
He turns to Drew.
I thought you were going to say brother.
I'm visiting from Boston.
Mrs. Johansen gets his attention now.
I remember you from the bakery the other morning.
They gesture to the bags.
There's treats if either of you are hungry.
I'm okay.
In a minute.
Before you put makeup on.
Of course, Mother.
Drew turns to Kirsten.
Since your parents are back, I'm going to head down.
See you there. If you catch Artie, tell him I'm on the way.
Sounds good.
Drew starts to leave.
Do you know where you're going?
No.
Left, leaving our house. Go 5 blocks, then another left. You can't miss it.
He waves goodbye. Exterior, Salem streets, night. A perfect starry night. Drew makes his way through a crowded street packed with people dressed in all sorts of costumes. Several things catch his attention. Food stands, costume performers, haunted houses. He eyes a large building. The sign, Comet Dance Hall, illuminated in bright lights. Music comes from the building. With a nervous smile, he wakes his way towards it. Interior, Comet Dance Hall, night. The Comet is decorated for Halloween. The patrons, most of them teenagers, are all in costume. Music blasts. Everyone is enjoying themselves. Drew scans the crowd for someone he knows. Then he sees her, Cathy, dressed like Alice in Wonderland. He approaches her.
Hello.
Cathy ignores him.
I wanted to explain earlier today. I was keeping Kirsten company.
Uh-huh. I need to find my friends, Drew.
Wait.
He puts his arm on her shoulder.
Stay and talk to me.
Why? You have a steady.
Maybe I just want to be your friend.
After all I've done?
Drew stares at her blankly.
I didn't mean it. Spitting in her face.
You know, my dad always tells me the things that seem so important to you now, they're not going to matter in a few years. I haven't felt that yet, but lately I keep wanting to think he's right.
Just then, a fast-paced song starts to play. Cathy's eyes widen and she smiles, leading him onto the dance floor. As they dance, they actually manage to have fun. Midway through the song, she notices Artie come in, dressed like Dracula, cape, fangs, and all. Drew forces her to look away as the song continues.
Can I ask you something?
What is it?
Did Artie book a room for him and Kirsten at the Sunrise tonight?
Drew pauses.
I heard other people talking at school yesterday.
How would I know?
I'm just wondering.
No, I don't think so.
You're lying to me.
So what? I think you need to move on, Cathy.
Cathy's gaze shifts to Artie, then to Kirsten, who's just entered. He extends his hand towards her. She takes his hand. Just as the song changes to something slow, romantic, he leads her out to the dance floor. He pulls her close, and as they dance, she lays her head on his shoulder. She looks up at him, and as they dance closely, they look into each other's eyes. Now Artie sees Cathy too. He gives her a look. Then he turns back to Kirsten and kisses her. Artie sees Drew and the two lock eyes. A moment later, he turns back to Kirsten. Drew taps Cathy's shoulders.
Want to get some air?
Cathy nods. Exterior, dance hall, night. Cathy and Drew sit on a bench, taking in the Halloween scene. They can hear the music from inside.
I'm going to ask you a very weird question.
Okay.
If I told you that I was your grandson from the future, and this was the only time I'd ever see you because you died before I was born, what would you tell me?
What?
I told you it was a weird question. Just please tell me.
Cathy laughs nervously.
Anyway, could you answer the question, please?
Cathy gives him a look.
I don't know. I suppose I haven't much thought about it. What do you want me to tell you?
I don't know. Like my dad always says, not to worry so much because one day none of this is going to matter.
I suppose I'd tell you that everything always works out for the best.
Drew nods vaguely.
Thank you for the talk, Drew. I really do feel better. I'm gonna go in and dance.
I'll stay out here for a while longer.
Cathy goes inside, and Drew watches the moonlight and the scene around him. Before he knows it, Ghost Kirsten is sitting beside him. He jumps when he sees her.
Don't worry, no one knows I'm here.
Drew says nothing.
And you haven't changed anything. Not yet.
Why can't I? Don't you want to live?
This is a part of life.
Does the human there know that?
Kirsten shakes her head.
No, but I was happy.
Don't you want to, I don't know, do whatever it is people are supposed to do with their lives?
Kirsten shrugs.
I just want to rest.
Why show me any of this? What's the point? What am I supposed to do if I can't stop it or save you?
Because you have a chance to make things better.
How?
By living your life.
Why do I get to live when you don't?
Drew, you're not listening to me. Let things happen.
I don't want to watch you die.
Kirsten's face forms a tight line. When he looks again, she's gone. He sighs and goes inside. Interior, dance hall, night. Drew doesn't see Cathy, but he does see Artie and Kirsten. He gets Artie's attention.
Drew.
Hi.
He turns to Artie.
May I speak with you for a moment?
Artie's confused, but he nonetheless obliges. They walk elsewhere in the hall.
Cathy knows.
Okay.
About the sunrise.
Okay.
Did you tell anyone?
One person, but I didn't think. You know, I appreciate your help today. I do, but this doesn't concern you anymore.
He sighs. The two of them notice Cathy dancing with her friends.
I'm gonna go back to my hotel.
He lingers.
Nice knowing you. Best of luck.
Drew leaves before he can start crying. Exterior, beach, night. Still in costume, Drew walks towards the beach. He hides somewhere beneath the bushes.
I have this right. You should be coming right here soon.
He stops, feeling his heart pounding.
Kirsten!
His cry is involuntary, and he's startled when he catches eyes with her.
Drew, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm staying at the hotel. I thought I'd walk since it's such a nice night, but I'll go.
He stands up and starts to leave.
Wait. I was just going to say, we didn't get to talk much. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
If you're ever in Salem. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Aren't you wondering why I'm here?
No, I don't think it's any of my business.
Sure.
He stops.
Kirsten, in case I don't see you again, I just wanted to say you're a really nice person.
Kirsten just smiles. Drew starts to walk away, but he goes and hides behind another bush a little bit further away. She takes off her shoes and wades ankle deep into the water. A moment later, he hears more footsteps. Artie's. He takes her further in and kisses her. Drew turns away, cupping his head in his hands. He hears kissing, a moan, and splashing as the two swim further into the water. Ghost Kirsten sits beside him.
Don't be afraid.
I've seen enough.
So, in about another moment or two, I'll have gone a little further into the water.
He turns around.
We went too far.
That's all this was.
He tried to save me, but it was too late.
Drew turns around. The sounds have gotten frantic now. A strong wave washes Kirsten away. She screams, and so does Artie. Once Drew turns around, we're there. Artie laying Kirsten's body in the sand.
Remember, you can't change anything.
You've said that like 10 times now.
Promise.
Okay.
He sits there, dumbfounded. Still, Drew can't help what happens next.
Artie!
Artie and Drew lock eyes. He's exasperated.
What happened?
What are you doing here?
staying at the hotel. Remember? What the hell happened?
I didn't mean it.
He looks at her. Kirsten's face is blue. Artie's crying now.
I don't know. I didn't mean it.
Is she dead?
Artie starts sobbing. He leans in close to her and sees that she's still breathing, but it's shallow.
She's breathing. Are you going to get help?
Say what? What if it's too late? We went too far. I can't go to jail.
Drew says nothing.
I can't go to jail.
Drew winces and rushes out when he says next.
Then don't. Get out of here. If anyone else asks, you had plans to meet her at Comet, but you never made it.
Artie nods and runs away. Drew watches his grandfather disappear from his line of sight, and then he does the same. Exterior, hotel, night. As soon as Drew finds an open space, he collapses and starts sobbing. Kirsten sits beside him once more.
It's okay.
Why? Your parents. What happened to your parents?
He sobs.
I get to be with them now.
Color is already returning to her face. She squeezes his hand. Drew doesn't want to let go.
Did my grandma know?
That doesn't matter.
My whole life. It only exists because of what he did to you.
Kirsten says nothing.
What about my dad? My aunt?
They have no idea. You were the only one I could show. You're the only one who could understand. Didn't you always feel like you never really knew him? You were meant to come here, to this hotel.
Drew continues to cry.
Drew, you need to let go of my hand. You need to go back to your time.
She gives him an "it's going to be okay" look and vanishes. Once she does, he hears a voice. Juliet's, dressed like Sally. Her parents linger close to the entrance.
Drew, are you okay?
I don't know.
Is the power back on?
I haven't been inside.
We ran into your parents. They just pulled up. Everyone's up front. I came because I thought I saw you.
Can you do me a favor, please? Please tell them that I've been with you the whole night.
Okay.
I'll tell you sometime, just not tonight.
Should I be worried?
I don't think so.
Everyone's out there now.
Warily, he gets up and follows, drying his tears. The two approach Liz, Jack, and Juliet's mother and father. Jack notices his son.
You okay, kid?
Yeah, just a really scary haunted house.
Drew blushes.
That's exactly what happened.
He screamed so loud.
We heard the power's been out?
Yeah, it's been out most of the day.
Oh, goodness.
Just then, they see lights come on from in the building.
I guess we came in the nick of time.
Let's maybe not come here for Halloween for a while.
Jack laughs and brings his son in for a hug.
You didn't spend all the money we gave you, did you?
Drew shakes his head.
Good.
Hey, we're headed out bright and early tomorrow, so I think this is goodbye.
She gestures to Drew and Juliet, and everyone watches them have an awkward goodbye. He gestures to the number still written on his hand, though faded.
If I'm ever in Philly.
And if I'm ever in Boston.
The families go their separate ways. Interior, Drew's grandfather's house, living room, day. There's a stack of boxes in the living room.
Thank goodness Heather's coming to finish things up.
Right?
The three of them each take a box, and Liz comforts her husband as they take one last moment in the house. Exterior, Drew's grandfather's house, day. It's a beautiful morning. As they start to pack up the car, Drew notices a blue butterfly in the bush. He smiles and sniffles. Fade out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eleanor Wells, and I really hope you've enjoyed this production of By Sunrise. I'm the writer and the founder of Cinderella Pictures. I hope you all will join us in 3 weeks on November 16th for a very special reading just like this one. It is the film adaptation of my debut novel, All Our Yesterdays. Jenna Giambra and Chase Cortland Irwin star. We will hope to see you there, and you can follow us on Instagram at Cinderella Motion Pictures to stay up to date on all the projects we've got going on in the future. Have a good night and happy Halloween.